Okay, so far with rational functions, we've talked about how to find all of the asymptotes. We've found vertical asymptotes, horizontal asymptotes, and oblique asymptotes. Now, sometimes when you factor the numerator and the denominator, they'll have a common factor. And when you have a common factor, I said in the vertical asymptote video that you don't actually get a vertical asymptote, you actually get a whole. So the graph will look like what happens when you cancel out that common factor, except the x value where that common factor happens, you'll have a hole in the graph. So the graph will kind of be going along and then have a hole. So to find where the holes exist, first thing we're going to do is factor our function. So here we're looking at the graph of x squared plus 2x minus 3 over x squared plus 3x minus 4. So if we want to factor the numerator, that factors as x plus 3 and x minus 1 over, now if we want to factor x squared plus 3x minus 4, that factors as x plus 4 over x minus 1. And we see we have this common factor of x minus 1. So what that tells us is we're going to have a whole at x equals 1. Now we still need the y value. So here down below we're going to answer the function will have a whole at 1 comma, and we still need a y value. Now to get the y value, we're going to look at the reduced function. So what happens when you cancel out these factors, and so that'll just be x plus 3 over x plus 4. And to get the new y value of where the whole will be, we'll plug 1, our x value, into that. So in the numerator we'll have 1 plus 3, which is 4. In the denominator, 1 plus 4 is 5. So our whole will be at 1 4/5. So kind of have to estimate, but we'll have a whole there. And so now we're really sketching the graph of x plus 3 over x plus 4, the reduced function. It's just that we now know we have that whole at 4/5. Okay? So let's kind of put together what else we've learned. Well, so we know vertical asymptote. This is going to happen when the denominator of our reduced function is 0, so that'll be at x equals negative 4. Okay, we know that the horizontal asymptote, since the degrees of the same are at the top and the bottom, we would take coefficient of the top, which is 1, over the coefficient of the bottom. So just 1 over 1, which is 1. Okay, now to get the y-intercept, we want f of 0. So we're going to plug 0 in, which would give us 0 plus 3, which is 3, over 0 plus 4, which is 4. So at 0 3/4. Okay, and the one last thing we can do is find any x-intercepts, and x-intercepts happen when you set the numerator equal to 0. Sorry, yes, when you set the numerator equal to 0, so that would be at x equals negative 3. So at negative 3, 0. Okay, and you can convert this on your calculator, but we're going to get a piece that goes like this. And then if we look at something like negative 5, well, if we plug in negative 5, f of negative 5 would be negative 2 over negative 1, which is just 2. Okay, so you can look at your calculator, but we're going to get a piece up here that goes like that, and that's our graph. So when you have those common factors is when you're going to get the whole, like we did here at 1 4/5.